It's a sleeper episode, baby. We told you we were going to do it. We just
y'all
dropped
better
our
wake
power
up.
rankings, our top 10, and people are like, where are these teams? How come they're not on the list? How dare you?
We had this all planned out. This
We
was
did.
just a master plan. You know what I mean? We're gonna highlight some teams that we didn't mention in our power rankings. Again, power rankings are very subjective. We go back and forth for a lot of these teams. There are teams I feel like shouldn't be on there that Josh feels like should be on there.
We should
And
actually film that, the pre-production with that, because we argue sometimes. A lot of it's through text, though, where we're going at it.
Yeah.
We don't really argue in pre-pro. It's more like leading up to the pre-pro
Yeah.
in our text message thread.
And it's just usually me just slandering the Knicks. So it's like it's not really.
That's pretty much it. But
Yeah.
listen, this is our sleeper episode. We're going to give you 3 sleepers who we think could have made in the top 10 and 3 sleepers who we think could make deep runs in the playoffs if everything happens correctly. I don't think any of these teams are going to be a surprise to you. Kwab, you ready to get started?
Let's do it.
All right, listen, the first team is the Dallas Mavericks. Listen, you made the trade for Luka Doncic, who now looks like a freaking superhero, which is insane. I mean, that's a whole nother discussion on its own. Talk about winning the breakup in the sense where it's like you get broken up with and then you lose 20 pounds and you become shredded. He's definitely like posting outfit of the day on Twitter, on Instagram, he's
Letting them know this is what you missed.
this is
But
look what you're
the
missing.
the Mavs made the trade, and then all of a sudden they got the number 1 pick out of nowhere. It's just
And they also got Anthony Davis, who's no slouch. Like, it's not like they didn't get anything.
We keep forgetting. We keep forgetting.
No big deal.
No big deal. They have AD.
Yeah. And it's funny, when the Mavs made this trade last year, you can go back and watch. I thought that it was a good deal for the Mavs in the short term. I thought it was a good deal for the Lakers in the long term because now you have Luka Doncic, who can be your centerpiece for the next 5 to 10 years if you're able to resign him. But for the Dallas Mavericks, if everybody stayed healthy, I don't think the year would have went the way it went last year. A lot of people forget that after Anthony Davis was traded from the Lakers to the Mavericks, like, I don't know what happened, but like the injury plague hit the Dallas Mavericks, and everybody went out.
Everything that went wrong went wrong.
I mean, so to be fair to Dallas and to Mavericks fans, we see you. We know that a big reason why the year ended last year the way it did was because of injuries.
Yeah.
Mavs fans have been through a lot. Luka Doncic gets traded. It's hard to deal with, but you're looking at the team objectively, Kwab. I think this team is deep enough to compete in the Western Conference. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think a huge factor is going to be the health of the team, and I think that's one of the main reasons why we kind of didn't have him in our top 10, because it's like Kyrie's going to be out. AD was also hurt, but it sounds like he should be good for the start of the season. But they went through like a myriad of injuries like after the trade. It was kind of like, hey, you traded Luka, you're cursed. This is what you get. This is what you get.
The basketball gods are like, listen, just a half season of BS.
Of BS. But that netted them Cooper Flag. They were able to get the number 1 pick, end up with Cooper Flag, who looked like a number 1 pick throughout the summer league, and adds to already very like deep team, deep front line. You could see this team making noise throughout the course of the season if they're healthy. Whenever Kyrie comes back, even as they are, like they have a lot of different pieces that could make an impact in the West.
Yeah, I mean, to me, defensively, I think they're going to be very good. You have Anthony Davis, who's probably the best rim protector in the league. I know people might say Rudy Gobert, but to me, Anthony Davis, when he's healthy, actually might be the best defender in the league, period. Like, full stop. Yeah. So you have Anthony Davis there, and then on the back end, you also have Lively and Gafford, who are no slouches as well. Klay Thompson, who's always been a really good defender throughout his career. He's not the defender he used to be, but he can still guard the perimeter. PJ Washington, Najee Marshall. They're just really deep, and I think Cooper Flag doesn't have a lot of pressure to come in and be this superstar. He doesn't have to come in and take over an offense. He doesn't have to come in and basically be the focal point of anything, really. When Kyrie Irving's on the court and Anthony Davis is on the court at the same time, you can relax a little bit.
Relax.
Yeah. And one thing I appreciate about Cooper Flag's game is that he actually does have a very good and well-rounded game. He's a good passer. He's a good playmaker. He can run the break. He's a good defender. There's a lot of things that he can do well, that he doesn't really need the ball in his hands all the time. To me, I think he went to a perfect situation where, you don't have the pressure of a franchise like, okay, we need you to be 25-8 off the bat and carry us and show leader. Like, you don't need all that. You kind of just need to fit in and do your job. Like if Cooper Flag averages like 15-8 this year, I think you're happy with that as a Mavs fan. And I think he's perfectly capable of it. Cooper Flag to me is somebody who looks just as NBA ready as any rookie I've seen in in the past few years. So I have no doubts in my mind that he's going to have a solid season. And even if he doesn't, you still have someone in a PJ Washington who I think fits the Mavs perfectly, who's done well since he's been back in Dallas. Najee Marshall as well. To me, this is a really deep team that's going to give a lot of teams problems if they're healthy. Now, would I put him over the Clippers? Would I put him over, the Rockets or the Nuggets? I don't think I would go that far, but I think you could absolutely make the case for them being better than the Lakers right now,
Yeah.
or maybe the Warriors right now, or maybe the T-Wolves. But they're in that conversation. And Kwab and I didn't have them in the top 10 because, like Kwab said, Kyrie's out to start the year, and it's one of those things where it's like I kind of have to see it. And but we do recognize how good they are for sure, or how good they can be.
Yeah, how good they can be. And even with all the players you mentioned, we also missed out. What is up? They still have Max Christie.
Yes.
What is it? Caleb Martin.
Another one, yeah.
Another one. So they have defensive pieces, and like you said, it's going to be a really good defensive team. So you could see them being kind of in that middle area in the West, and could anything happens when you're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
We've already seen that. There's been many times where we're like, oh, this team is a higher seed. They should definitely beat the lower seed, and it doesn't go that way because matchups matter. And you have a front line of AD and a center. That's all he wanted. AD just wanted to play with some centers. He kept asking the Lakers.
That's all he wanted. He got his wish, baby.
Lakers are like, yeah, we got you. We got a center right for you.
I wish.
So that's a factor into it. We were talking about this before we started recording. But when it comes to the Mavs and even Cooper Flag, I could see a scenario where Cooper Flag doesn't start just because that's how deep they are. Like you said, he definitely starts, which I agree on. Like he could definitely start, but he can also come off the bench because they do have PJ Washington, they do have Najee Marshall, they have a lot of, like we mentioned all these players, a lot of top players like in that front line in those positions. So he could be in a scenario where you're just comfortable like bringing him off the bench and letting him like adapt slowly, or they can Jason Kidd throws him right in the fire. Either way, it works out for him. But this is going to be a very good defensive team.
Yeah.
First of all, very good defensive team. I like to see it. I'm interested to see how they look instead of now without Kyrie, they have D'Lo at the point guard position, and D'Lo is somebody that's used to playing with AD when they're on the Lakers.
Yeah.
So there's some continuity there. This is gonna be. I can see them being like a top 6 team in the West.
Yeah, and
easily.
then when Kyrie comes back, D'Lo goes to the bench, and I think D'Lo is a very serviceable backup point guard. I mean, he's probably one of the better backup point guards in the league, if not, I won't say the best. I can't think off the top of my head, but I mean, you would like to have D'Angelo Russell as your backup point guard. So for me, I guess my concerns here are like what kind of offense they're going to run. Obviously, Jason Kidd is one of the best point guards of all time. As a coach, I don't really think too highly of him, even though I do think he deserves credit for bringing the team to the finals, and he's done a pretty decent job in Dallas. But I think a lot of their offense in the past was kind of just give the ball to Luka and let Luka cook, or give the ball to Kyrie, let Kyrie cook, and then you would have like a pick and roll with Luka, because Luka does have that lob threat, with Gafford and Lively. Like he's always really good at that. And I wonder if they keep that same offense, with Kyrie and D'Angelo, pick and roll with AD, or pick and roll with Gafford and Lively to the rim. I'm sure Anthony Davis is going to be on the perimeter more because, he is playing the 4 now, and I think that's what he wants. So I'm interested to see how Jason Kidd incorporates that. Are you going to go like a high pick and roll with these players? Are you going to have AD spreading the floor? How are you going to use this lineup to your advantage? I think there are a lot of things that you can do. Dribble handoffs, AD coming off curls, like maybe being a hub at the top. We'll see. But definitely a lot of different options. I really don't know what to expect. I mean, we didn't see Anthony Davis play last year with the Mavericks, so it is kind of like, I don't know what to expect. The one game he did play, he got hurt in, but he was freaking awesome in that game.
He was awesome. I mean, he did come back and play. I think a little bit, but it was obviously at that point it didn't really matter. And like you said, they have, because of all the options that they have like different type of lineup variations they could have. Would there be lineups where AD plays at the 5 and like Cooper's at the 4?
Yeah,
like Jason Kidd has a different type of option. So like it's to us, we can't wait to see what it looks like. It will be interesting.
Cooper's gonna have to shoot the 3 though, because if you're gonna have Gafford and Lively on the floor with Cooper Flag. You can't have big guys crowding the paint.
Yeah.
And then also Cooper's guy playing off Cooper in the paint. Like it's gonna mess up some spacing. So that's the one thing I say Cooper's probably gonna have to be good at this year and be confident doing is shooting the 3 ball at a respectable rate. You don't got to shoot 40+%, shoot 35, 36%, at least be respectable from the 3-point range. And then I think the offense can take off. But to me, that's going to be one of the more important things, whether or not Cooper Flag can stretch the floor and shoot the 3 ball at a consistent rate. We know we can get that from PJ. Right?
Yep.
And that's what you're saying. Maybe that's why PJ starts in the starting lineup. I don't know. And you bring Cooper off Cooper Flag off the bench for more energy, running the basketball, things of that nature. But that to me, that's my biggest question mark. It's like, all right, is Cooper going to be able to run in these lineups with Lively and Gafford? He's going to be with one of them because one of them's come off the bench as well. Are you going to be able to give that space? He's going to have to hit the 3 ball. I don't think he's going to be relegated to a spot-up 3-point shooter from the corner because I think Cooper Flag's better than that.
Yeah.
But I do think he is going to be expected to hit the 3 ball. And if he can do that, then this Mavs team is going to be pretty dangerous offensively too.
Yeah, I mean, and we can go back and look at him during the summer league. We saw how aggressively he was taking those threes. So
yeah,
I mean, he's gonna have those shots. Like again, like you said, he has to be capable of hitting it. Like, and that's gonna be a factor. So he's been you could tell he works on his shot. He's been an improved shooter throughout the years. So that's also gonna factor in. But the Mavs have a very, very interesting team in the West.
Sleepers, baby, sleepers. We know it. All right, moving on to our next sleeper, the Atlanta Hawks. Now, we did a video on the Hawks when Kristaps Porzingis was traded. We said we loved the deal. I still love the deal. They made more moves during the offseason. They acquired Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Luke Kennard, which I think is going to be a very interesting pickup for them because when you have Trae Young running a pick and roll, you're going to need shooters. And I think the way you build an offense or a team around Trae Young is very similar actually to the way you build one around Jalen Brunson, where it's like you get a bunch of people who can shoot and play defense. And they seem to do that. They did lose Clint Capella, Karis LeVert, Larry Nance Jr., Terrence Mann, George Niang, and David Roddy. So a lot of their roster is gone. They're not as deep as I think a contender can be. There are players like Kobe Buffkin who might get more playing time this year, so we'll see, if he steps up in his role. But for me, I think in general, I love the direction that this Atlanta Hawks team is going. You surrounded him with shooters like Luke Kennard who can shoot the 3. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, low-key can shoot the 3, as you saw with Minnesota, especially in the playoffs. And then Kristaps Porzingis, a great pick-and-pop option. He can also protect the rim when he's healthy playing defense. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a fantastic defender. You pair him with Dyson Daniels, my goodness. So I think they are making the right moves in Atlanta. I do think they need a little more reinforcements and a deeper bench, and we'll see if anybody can step up and take those roles on. But in the Eastern Conference, where the Celtics are going to have a down year, gap year, Tyrese Halliburton's going to be missing time the whole season for the Pacers. You have the Knicks, the Cavs. After that, to me, a lot of question marks. So why not the Hawks? Sleepers.
Kwab, why not the Hawks? I think the one thing, like you said, when we talked about the Kristaps trade, we're like, oh, this is a perfect fit for this team. Again, the question marks that come with that is he healthy? Because he had a weird injury stretch last year with the Celtics. But from what I've read, it seems like because he's preparing to play overseas for his national team, seems like he's healthy. To your point where you made about the Hawks, surround Trae Young with capable defenders and shooters. Yeah. And doing that, getting Nickeil Alexander-Walker is another great pickup for them. Getting Luke Kennard, who's a knockdown shooter, is another greater pickup for them. To me, it comes down to is Kristaps healthy? Is Jalen Johnson healthy? Because Jalen was basically headed towards maybe a most improved player, player of the year award. How well he's been playing.
Jalen Johnson's an all-star when he's healthy. I'm going to throw it out there. He's an all-star. He's that
ridiculous.
Good. Yeah.
So they have pieces. Like you have Jalen Johnson. You also have Zachary Ricochet, who had
under the radar good rookie season.
Number 1 pick under the radar.
Nobody knows who the hell he is.
Nobody talked about it, and he progressed throughout the games. Hawks games I was able to catch. There were moments I was like, okay, you can see it with him because a player of his size, that's a wing. He can shoot. He can handle the ball. He can pass. So they have a lot of pieces around Trey. And then them getting rid of or basically letting Clint Capella go shows how much confidence they have in Onyeka as a big, who they have loved for so many years. I feel like they just wanted to get off the Clint Capella contract for so many years.
Yeah.
So again, they have a bunch of players that they can have different versatile lineups. Like Kristaps is the type of player he can play at a 5, he can play at the 4 because of his ability to shoot.
Yeah.
You put Trey Young around all these wings and run a pick and roll with him. He's a master in terms of being able to pass, being able to shoot also. And like you said, there aren't a lot of. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of elite teams in the East this year. So you can be a top 3 team in the East. You can be a top 2 team in the East. You never know. Like if you just win some games,
Yeah.
and stay healthy.
Yeah.
And stay healthy in the East. So that's the reason why we have the Hawks as a sleeper.
Yeah. Also, I think people are forgetting how good Trey Young is, and I'm saying this as a Knicks fan.
Yeah.
I mean, he's somebody who like is literally unstoppable in pick and roll situations if you have shooters. I mean, there's nothing you can do. If you drop, he's going to hit a 3. If you trap him, he's going to make the right pass. And if you trap him now with Porzingis setting the screen, that's a 3 ball. Like if you kind of just hedge a little bit, he's always going to make the right pass. He's going to hit a floater. He's going to hit a 3. He's going to draw a foul. He's always going to make a right decision. Trey Young, to me, has become a very underrated player in this league. I think, he had his coming out party, the year they went to the Eastern Conference Finals. He got hurt. Who knows what would have happened? Maybe they would have beat the Bucks. I think a lot of people forget that too. I mean, the Bucks won the championship, but also people forget that Trey got hurt that series. I'm not saying that the Hawks would have won, but I mean, they were playing really good basketball then. So to me, you got this player, Trey Young, who to me is a top 5 player in the East minimum. I mean, I can't think off the top of my head, but you have Giannis, you have Jalen. You have him. And if you surround him with defenders like a Dyson Daniels, who was a top 3 defender in the league, period. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Kristaps Porzingis. This roster's starting to make a lot of sense to me. In the past, it was like, yeah, we can put up 140, but we'll give up 142 and we'll lose.
Yeah.
And they were just the epitome of average. I remember there was like a 2-month period where they win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, win. It was just like
back to back.
It was crazy.
Weird.
I think it was 2 years ago. It was insane. I think you're going to see more consistency from the Hawks this year. Obviously, they got to stay healthy though, because to me, like I said, this is a very thin roster to me. It's really not filled out like the way that we were talking about the Mavs. It's not filled out like the Mavs roster or other rosters in the Eastern Conference. But the top end talent will get them far. I don't think they're better than the Knicks. I don't think they're better than the Cavs. But I do think the next tier, that discussion, I think you have to start with, the Hawks and the Magic. I think the Celtics are still going to be better than a lot of people think. I don't think they'll be contenders, but I still think they'll be better than people think. I think that's the next tier right here. And I think the Hawks, a really good year, a really good season. Yeah, they could be the 3 seed. Why not? Maybe even the 2 seed. Who knows? I think the Hawks are back. I do. And I think people are sleeping on Trey Young. To me, he's a very low-key dark horse MVP candidate. I'll even say that.
Yeah, I like that. I'll say the only thing I'll probably like push back on you a little bit is that I think that the Hawks are kind of your deep-ish. I liked your rookie Asa Newell. Like I've been a big fan of him for a while and seen how well he played during the summer league. You could tell how he kind of just slot in to with your front line. And I'm just saying, when I say deep-ish, I'm talking about if this team is healthy. We're talking about if this team is overall healthy. You have Trey Young, obviously your starting point guard aside, but you have all these wings with Nickeil, Dyson, Luke, Jalen Johnson. Like you going down the list of just people that can definitely contribute in terms of winning. And then you have a decent front line with not decent. You have a really good front line actually with Kristaps, Onyeka, and Mohamed Gay. So that's to me in the East. That's a deep-ish team. It's not like you said. It's not like the Mavs when we start naming all these players, but that's a deep-ish team. Yeah, like you said, they're in that tier. Like you don't really see them number 1, but to me, they can get up there in that very top tier, just because you don't know how the games are going to play out. Like we can go back and talk about how we saw the season playing out last year and the top teams we had, and bunch of them mugs didn't cut it at all whatsoever. And
Yeah.
our power rankings kept changing throughout the course of
Oh
the
my
year.
God.
So
Dramatically.
yeah, it was tremendous. So they're definitely in that second tier, like you said, around the second tier, but they have a chance of kind of like getting up there too if they start the season off the right way, and defensively they come out the right way.
Yeah, and to be fair to the Hawks too, lack of depth. I'm a Knick fan. Like we went 70. We went 70 last year. So like you don't have to be the deepest team in the world to be successful in the
True,
regular season as well.
true.
If your top end talent is there. Now you do have
Yeah,
Trae Young who is top end talent as well. I think Jalen Johnson is. I mean, he was basically having a coming out party before he got hurt.
yeah,
So and Porzingis to me is one of the better fours in the league when he's healthy. You do have the top end talent is there as well. Everyone just got to stay healthy. To me, I don't think the Hawks can afford an injury or two. Not many teams can. I'm not saying, that a lot of teams can. It's a common sense. Like, yeah, of course, Josh, if someone gets hurt, they're going to suffer. But particularly the Hawks, I think if there's an injury to someone in their starting lineup, I think it's going to be more difficult for them to overcome that than other teams as well, especially at the top, like a Cavs team or a Knicks team or, other teams that are good throughout the NBA.
yeah.
All right, last team, last sleeper. Kind of a weird sleeper because we've been talking about them for a while to be NBA championship contenders. It's the Milwaukee Bucks. They acquire Miles Turner, Cole Anthony, and Gary Harris. Brooke Lopez leaves. Damian Lillard's gone. Pat Connaughton's gone. So it's kind of the same team. Miles Turner is a better version of Brooke Lopez at this point. So you replaced Brooke Lopez with someone who's almost the same exact player. I think Miles is more versatile than Brooke right now. Dame's gone, so that era is dead. Gary Harris is someone who can shoot the three, who can defend, and Cole Anthony's somebody you can bring off the bench and he can kind of light up the scoreboard. So you have someone you can give the ball to, or who can kind of cook if you need him every once in a while. I like what they did here. The Bucks, to me, were a team that just could not be healthy the past 2 years and could never really get it together. And we talk about this a lot, but health matters a lot. And again, this is going to be a constant theme that we talk about with the Eastern Conference. It's a very thin conference. There's two teams at the top right now who people don't even believe in, the
Yeah.
Knicks and the Cavs. There's, right now that's the consensus two best teams in the league. And if you ask really any Eastern Conference fan, like if you're a fan of the Bucks, if you're a fan of whatever, you're not scared of either one of those teams. So I do think an Eastern Conference team has a bigger chance of being a sleeper. And then when you have Giannis Antetokounmpo, of course, like you have a chance in every game and you have a chance in every series. To me, it's going to be interesting to see how Miles Turner pans out here. Like I said, I think he's a better extension of Brooke Lopez. Pick and pop, can hit the three. I think he can put the ball on the floor better. I don't know if he's going to protect the rim better than Brooke. Outside of that, though, I do like what they've done here. I think getting Cole Anthony to come off the bench is going to help their offense out a lot. I think they're going to need to find ways to help Giannis create on the offensive end. But again, he's the best player in the East. If you have the best player in the East, you have a chance. And I think people are kind of forgetting how good and how well the Bucks played when they actually got healthy last year.
Yeah, again, health matters.
Yeah.
With after they made a Dame trade, it felt like they could never get healthy.
Yeah.
If it wasn't Dame, it was Chris Middleton, and then it was Giannis in some stretches. So they never got any form of continuity, which hurt them. But they're an interesting team because at the end of the day, they still have Giannis. So like if you have Giannis, it's like one of those. There's specific players in this league. If they're on your team, you're gonna have a chance. It is what it is. And Giannis is one of those players. Like you said, they did a good job bringing in Miles Turner, and then re-signing Bobby Portis,
Kevin Porter.
getting Cole Anthony. Was it Kevin Porter Jr. Signing him too. So I mean, they have an interesting team. It's like, but again, to your point, it's like, do they have enough to help out Giannis? You know what you're gonna get out of Giannis. Like,
Yeah.
like he's close to a triple double, but an aggressive downhill scorer. He's been improving every year. Like his mid range shooting this year was incredible, like just incredible. But have they done enough to surround him with more shooters to like space it out for him to go to work? Have they done enough?
Yeah.
To replace like some of the, I guess, auxiliary scoring around him? Like, is there another player? Do they have another player who they can just throw the ball to when Giannis is resting, that can just go get him like 15, 20 points just off the rip? And that's gonna factor into it. have they resigned Thanasis? Like, these are the questions I need answered. Like, did they need to bring back Thanasis?
That's the real question. The vibe's got to be right, baby.
The vibe's got to be right. What does this look like? What does this look like with another year under Doc Rivers? Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of questions. But again, they're in the East, and like you said, the East feels very, very not scary this year. Like, the West looks scary in comparison.
Yeah.
The East this year is like, okay, we're gonna see. Like, that's what it just feels like. It's like we're going to see, and there's gonna be teams that nobody's talking about that might come out the East. Like, it's a strong possibility. And if you have Giannis, you have a chance.
Yeah, and I also think the Bucks are interesting because you have a few players who are coming into their own right now. Like Kevin Porter Jr. is finally going to get an opportunity to start. It looks like this year.
Yeah.
He's someone who can get buckets really quick if you need him to. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see if he can be consistent in that role. If he can kind of play sidekick to Giannis every once in a while. He's somebody who has bounced around a little bit, who hasn't really gotten an opportunity, I think, for the most part, but is somebody who definitely obviously has a talent to score and score very quickly in bunches. AJ Green's another player who I love. He can shoot the three, shoot his ass off, and he's a good defender too. So basically what you got in Pat Connaughton during your, championship run, you have an AJ Green. So it's there. Like, the formula is there. You don't have your Chris Middleton type, but you do have help there. I think Giannis has more help than people realize. Miles Turner, again, is somebody who, if involved in the offense, can put up buckets. Bobby Portis is very comfortable in Milwaukee. I do think there's a formula here for the Bucks if they can just kind of get it right and if they can be healthy. Doc Rivers.
Yes, that's what it's going to be like. Does Doc Rivers have the formula to get him?
Yeah,
right?
It's really going to come down to that. I think the two most important things is that, and that to me, outside of Giannis, I think Kevin Porter Jr. is probably the most important player.
Wait, hold on. We've talked about the Bucks for how long, and we've not mentioned Kyle Kuzma.
That's a sad.
That it just hit me just now.
He disappeared from our minds like he disappeared in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, it just hit me just now.
He was supposed to be at number 3 last year. That's crazy. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
we're talking about who can help Giannis, and we're like, and just hear him like, yo, we haven't mentioned Kyle Kuzma. Oh my goodness.
I don't know if the jury's still out on Kyle Kuzma. I think we've pretty much know who he is at this point. I think he's somebody who can score the basketball at times. I think he's wildly inconsistent. Him disappearing the way he did last year was just brutal.
Yes.
Not what you traded for. To me, I don't count him as a reliable go cook. Give the ball to him and go cook. I would rather give the ball to Kevin Porter Jr. if I'm being honest with you at this point.
Okay.
I mean, you saw what Kevin did last year when he got the opportunity in the playoffs. He balled out, and I think this is his year to show what he can do. So.
Yeah. I just had a moment while you were talking, because when you were like Kevin Porter Jr., I'm like, there's somebody else, and I'm like, oh snap, Kuzma.
Yeah.
They're gonna need something from Kuzma. That's what they're gonna need.
Oh my God, 1,000%.
They're gonna need him to step up, especially like this year, because it's clear, like you said, if they're going to be dependent on somebody like Porter, they're going to need to depend on somebody like Kuzma, because he's going to be in the starting lineup. You're going to need him to be more efficient and more consistent and not disappear. We all, like you said, the jury, like, we know what Kuzma is at this point in time. It's kind of crazy. There was a point in time people were debating if Kuzma was a better choice than Jason Tatum. I remember that was real. That's happened.
That's a freaking wild discussion.
And that, when you think about it now, it's kind of crazy. But regardless of anything, Kuzma is an NBA champion.
Yeah.
And he has experience playing with all-star players. He has experience kind of fitting in a role and trying to find his way. He needs to be more aggressive and be able to step up, especially on this team, in order for them to have a chance in the East.
All right, listen, that's going to do it for our Sleepers episode. Those are 3 sleepers Kwab and I think have a chance to make some noise in the NBA playoffs next season. Let us know who you think a sleeper is. Kwab and I are also going to do another edition of this with, I guess, fringe playoff teams. Show some love to some teams that haven't been shown love in a long time. So look out for that as well. You can subscribe to the channel. We'll bring you more content throughout the offseason, and definitely when the season starts, we do game reactions and all that good stuff. You can follow the Dime everywhere at the Dime NBA. I'm Josh Rodriguez at Josh_Rodriguez_. He's Kwab at Kwab AKS. We'll see you next time for another episode of the Dime. Peace.